Elizabeth Parks, the president and CMO of Parks Associates. We're excited to have this conversation, also to host our 19th annual Connection Summit. We invite you all to join us at our networking reception this evening if you're interested and want to send an enormous shout out to our sponsors of this event. So thank you to these companies for sharing their support for this sessions today and our evening reception. We're going to be talking about profitability in the connected home. This is a hot topic, right? How to make money and stay in business. And we've got an amazing lineup of speakers who are going to share some of their experiences that they've had in managing the bottom line, as well as maintaining innovation and shifting business models. So again, I welcome you. I am the president and CMO of Parks Associates. We're celebrating our 39th year in business this year. And so thank you. If you are part of our events or research, we very much appreciate your support. And I want to start off by just setting the stage for you all before we go into questions. There are so many different players that are in the connected home space, and the smart home, of course, is part of the connected home. Lots and lots of companies who are vying for the consumer's attention, for their money, and ultimately for the subscription service that the consumer could have in their home, depending on what they're buying. Making money in this market is interesting and requires a lot of thinking, requires a lot of investments, costs, and strategies. It is also completely dependent on a lot of partnerships and understanding how these ecosystems can work together in a converging market. And that really is what Parks Associates is about, understanding where the opportunity lies between intersecting ecosystems that are converging, ultimately in the name of the experience for the consumer. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And we encourage you all to read some of the research that we've produced. There is a lot of free data on our website in understanding the different business models and how to go to market with new products. I would like to start off with brief intros. We have a really great lineup of speakers to address this topic coming from different areas of the consumer market. And so we're going to start off with 30-second introductions and then go into Q&A. And so we'll start here. Travis, if you would introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Travis Hockersmith. I work for VIZIO. I oversee the team that works on monetization of our platform. So we've transformed our business model over the past 5 years or so from a company that makes money when we sell TVs to a company that makes money when you use your TV. And that's what my team's really been focused on, and we've built a fairly large recurring revenue business over the past 5 years.
Great. Thank you for being here. Melissa, welcome back.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good morning, everybody. My name is Melissa Andresko. I am the Chief Brand Ambassador at Lutron Electronics. For those of you not familiar with Lutron, we are the company that brought dimmers to the world, light dimmers, and have today evolved into a very robust smart home and smart building business. And I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for spending your morning with us.
Hi everyone, my name is Agnes, Lorenz. I do brand and partner support at Zooz. We're a Z-Wave manufacturer. We produce quality smart home devices, anything from dimmers, switches, also relays and sensors. We're focused on providing a comprehensive ecosystem for everybody to use using the latest technology. We have over 35 devices on the market today, most of them using the latest Z-Wave long-range technology.
Great, thanks for being here. Jake, welcome.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Welcome as well. Thank you for having me. For the audience, my name is Jake Alamat. I manage the home and life business for Silicon Labs. For those of you unfamiliar with Silicon Labs, our entire business is around building semiconductor solutions for IoT edge nodes. So we've been in the IoT almost forever, since it's kind of been around, and what we focus on is building optimized, secure solutions and services to enable device makers and ecosystems to add value and bring unique solutions and use cases to the market. So thank you for having me. Appreciate being a part of this panel.
Great. Laura, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me today. I'm Laura Mitchell. I'm the CEO of GrandCare Systems. We are a software company that utilizes a variety of hardware solutions, including like a touchscreen and several sensors, to help individuals primarily with disabilities or older adults remain independent at home. So establishing remote supports and things like that to utilize touchscreen-based and sensor-based technologies. Nice to be here.
Great, thank you for joining us. Okay, so we have a lot of different perspectives. I want to start and just talk about the hardware model really changing. And so Travis, we're going to start here. Can you give us an idea of how VIZIO has navigated this shift that we've seen in the past, 18 to 36 months with moving from being a television company to being so much more?
Yeah, it really starts with transforming the company into more of a software company. Historically, we made great TVs at a great price, and we were very hardware focused. People would buy a TV, plug in their cable box, whatever the case may be. As the world moved to streaming services, it provided a huge opportunity to be the operating system that people use when they turn on their TV, to go to all the content you expect, all the apps that you expect. And there are really interesting business models in running that part of the business. We make money from advertising. We make money from subscriptions. We found all sorts of ways to monetize when you turn the TV on. And that's been the real transformation. It's been a completely different company now than it was in the past, just in terms of the type of people we employ, the number of engineers that work for us, the number of people that work talking with advertising clients and selling to advertising clients, the number of people who work with the major apps in the ecosystem. So it's really been a whole company transformation from, I guess the simplest way to put it is from a hardware company to an integrated company that is predominantly software driven.
And that's this hardware as a service model that we've been talking about for years now at Parks. And I know that Jake at Silicon Labs is really working to help many hardware companies realize that they can become so much more. We are in a world of transformation, and so this hardware is now dependent upon so much more, and there is revenue that is getting attached to that. So Jake, can you explain a little bit about how this is working when you all are approaching different companies as they try to transform themselves as VIZIO is currently doing?
Yeah, it's, at Silicon Labs, as you said, Elizabeth, we support tens of thousands of customers all building unique devices, and we see many strong use cases today and many strong use cases coming in the future that are really driving new electronics companies to either shift their model like Travis is talking about or build new features and use cases. And really the folks that we see that are successful in this, they're folks that they focus on how do I add a unique value to the consumer that isn't just viewed as a nice to have, but it becomes viewed as a must have, right? So, talking about aging in place, right? Where people want that freedom to be able to stay in their home and not go to a different community or anything like that. Having the tools to be able to go control that and be able to stay in a place that you want to be, or extending even into medical monitoring like you see with diabetes management today. So there's the folks that we see that are really successful here are looking at how do I add value with my own product and across the ecosystem that is going to align to consumers' needs. The folks that we see that have challenges in this are the folks that really try to go it on their own for everything, because they build in a lot of complexity in their products. It saps resources away from them being able to focus on what value can I provide, and not only what value can I provide, but how do I communicate that to a non-technical audience. So it's pretty exciting, the landscape that's out there and how it's evolving. And I think there's a lot of opportunities for folks to really build good, strong businesses off of it, but they need to be thinking in a way of how do I how do I add value on an ongoing basis? What's that service? What's that thing that becomes a must-have to drive?
And is there a reality that a subscription service is necessary in today's world with hardware, or that it's important in terms of long-term future of products?
I don't think that it has to be there. I think it depends on what you're trying to go do. A lot of companies today, they'll have tiered offerings where they'll have a doorbell and a lock or a light that you can all put together in your home and make that work. And if you're fine managing that yourself, you don't need any. A subscription actually becomes counterproductive at that point, because then what am I paying for? Really what they care about in that case is, do I trust the brand, right? Is this going to be reliable? Is this going to be an appliance that I can keep for a long time? But there's things that you can go do above and beyond that, where it could become a monitoring service, either for security, either for energy efficiency, where somebody can say, hey, look, I'll save you 50% on your bill, and here's the ROI you get for giving me that money. But it has to be tied to a tangible use case. And as you can see, it doesn't always have to be a subscription. The focus has to be on, in my opinion, in our opinion, is how am I adding unique value, and how am I putting all my time, energy, and effort there?
Okay, great. And how are we going to get consumers to get the idea of AI and artificial intelligence in their home products? And so, Agnes, I'll come to you on this one. When you're talking about the different products that you all have in the home and the level of AI that is being injected, what is the consumer response to this, and why does the AI become so important to driving the profitability and the future of those different products when we look at the market today?
Yeah, I think you have to follow the money, right? All the money in tech is going to AI development right now. And there's a huge opportunity in the smart home. I think that what we're seeing right now with companies like Josh AI, when it's very easy to interact with smart home, is just a preview. It's hopefully going to happen. One of the biggest barriers that we've seen with consumers is that nobody has time to create if-then scenarios or rules to create automations. Some of that falls on the backs of installers right now, and that really drives that industry. But in the future, what we're going to see is there will be large action models for smart homes. Similar to self-driving for cars today, we're going to see the homes suggesting what needs to be done. Wouldn't it be nice to unpack a sensor, set it up, do a shadow valve, set it up, and then the automation is set up for you, right? You don't have to do anything. So that's the future. In terms of platform development, whoever is here doing software, that's absolutely where you should be focusing on. How to bypass that rule creation process and deliver really smart suggestions and solutions for your customers. If you're a hardware developer, like us, for example, what we need to start looking at is something that I think Silicon Labs has seen already. I know that you guys were helping a customer develop a smoke sensor that would tell the difference between an incense smoke and actual fire smoke, right? So compute on the edge, where sensors and controls are getting smarter with machine learning algorithms that just have the type of power to bring us to the next level and really deliver that experience, because at the end of the day, just like as Jake mentioned, what you make money on is user experience.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what you're talking about is this new term we're seeing agentic AI, this autonomous coordination that's going on with all of the intelligence. And so that is a new term that Parks has been seeing, Google using it quite a bit, the idea that the coordination is all built in and happening because of the intelligence coming from the different devices or sensors, whatever data is there. So it's very interesting thinking about it that way. Melissa, would love to hear from you on some of Lutron's view and how you all are, building the experience for consumers at home.
Yeah, so I think today a lot of consumers, I think, are starting with one smart home product that is solving a problem for them. I don't know that there is this broad group of consumers who have their whole smart home sort of laid out ahead of time. I think there's a lot of tech enthusiasts who are probably operating that way, but I think the average consumer is starting with a singular product, and that might be a voice assistant, it might be a smart doorbell or a camera, something that is going to solve a very distinct problem in their household or enhance their lifestyle. Excuse me. And then I think that the whole works with aspect is sort of the bonus. And I think that, again, they're starting with one product, they're understanding the integration possibilities with whether it's lights or shades or adding additional, devices, whether it's, audio. So it's very interesting because we're seeing a lot of attachment sales very quickly. And I think, Amazon in particular does a very good job. Once you purchase one smart home product, it starts suggesting other things that work. So it's exciting to sort of see how this is evolving. But we find, especially with our Caseta smart lighting system, people are starting there and then adding on. So it's been exciting to see that evolution.
Yeah, I think the smart home really ends up being about the experience. A lot of people don't understand what they might not have until they have it. Same thing with a smart television. You don't know what you don't know until you get one, and then you're wowed by it. And so a lot of these things are moving to the experience and then that integration. There's also a really important play, though, when we think about healthcare and accessibility and just making technology for everybody and making it very useful. And so, Laura, I would love for you to share a little bit more about some of the things that you all are doing with the reality of devices moving into services and how they're really helping consumers.
Yeah, sure. So we serve primarily individuals living with intellectual and developmental disabilities as well as older adults. And our technology is designed to help create the least restrictive environment possible so that that individual can attain a certain amount of independence. And that can be a different story depending on where they're, we try to meet them where they're at. And our technology is just a vehicle to provide that. And it's really not about the technology. It's about amplifying existing caregivers to help them to not only provide remote supports and care for individuals either in a hybrid model. I mean, GrandCare is not going to make your bed or help you shower, but what GrandCare does do is it can walk you through your day. It can help break down complicated tasks. It can say, here's a video on how to shave. Here's a video of you getting ready for work. Here are how to do those things. And so providing independence one step further to allow that individual to achieve independence and success. Meanwhile, remote caregivers who may have previously been man-on-man model, right? And we don't have enough caregivers, and if we, as we limit immigration, the problem's going to get worse. So these individuals don't have enough caregivers, and they want to be independent. Most people aren't saying, I'd really love somebody to be in my home 24/7. So they want to have as much independence as possible, and using technology, using Zooz, using Lutron, using all of these technologies together, interoperable, of course, to allow that individual to live their best life and, of course, in the safest way possible.
Melissa, did you want to add anything? I know you're part of the Health Tech Care Foundation.
Yeah, so the Consumer Technology Association has their foundation, and the foundation is based on really helping those with disabilities and seniors use technology for good, help them, restore those found freedoms that they may have lost. And it's been fascinating to me to hear personal stories from our customers. Lutron makes motorized window shades, for example, and we have a device that you could actually put on your wheelchair or your scooter. And I had the good fortune of meeting the family who, both the husband and wife, were wheelchair bound, and they said, we haven't opened our window shades in 8.5 years because it's difficult for us to stand up and twist the mini blinds open. And now we have these motorized shades and we can have sunlight come in. And just hearing powerful stories like that we all take for granted, and knowing that this concept of technology for good is helping people, to your point, stay in their homes longer, give them these freedoms. It's just such a powerful thing to watch. And I think that's going to be a really important thing for 2025. And I'll address that. I know that's our last question, but we can talk more about that. But yeah, I think this whole concept of just helping people age in place more, more efficiently and effectively is just fascinating.
Well, yeah, and healthcare really is for everybody, and not just the older people. Everybody can use technology to understand what's going on with their health, and then leverage other devices to understand what's going on in their environment. And that really is what a lot of the connected home, the IoT space is about. What is going on in the environment? What are the tools that I can use to access different content, to access apps? We know the television is still the centerpiece of the home, and we see the smart home being connected to the TV. And in fact, this is the vision that Trisha Parks, our founder, had back in the 80s, right? The whole home experience, bringing together controls, security, automation with the largest screen, and intertwining those in the name of the experience. So there really is a lot that's grown up, and still we're might say that we're in the early stages of this really exploding. So part of the challenge, though, in profitability is that ability to scale. And so I want to see if we can just go down very quickly here, and then we'll move to the next topic of what's your best advice that you'd give a company who's looking to scale their hardware or their software services.
I think fundamentally, you've got to have a lot of devices out there, obviously, in order to scale any of these business models, but you've got to make it really easy to use. There's a lot of, especially in connected TV, there's a lot of options for consumers. If you don't like how your TV works, you can buy a $20 dongle and plug it in, and it's a completely different experience. So you have to deliver an experience that consumers trust and love and connect with over time. In the absence of that, there's really no way to scale.
And I think it's also too just to reinforce what you're saying, just about providing that value. What is, that long-term commitment to the product, and making sure that, when you're buying it, you don't feel like you're going to have to replace it every 18 months, that this company is going to support your journey with this product in your home. So I think it's really about what is that value proposition to the consumer, so that, they are committed to staying with it long-term.
I would add that if you're a small company scaling, which is essentially what we've been for the past 10 years, it's important to pay attention to your channels, who you're trying to reach. If you're trying to reach consumers, we see more of them going direct to manufacturer, and you're competing with companies that are selling direct. So Amazon comes to mind, but then you have to keep in mind that Amazon, is high fee environment right now. So it's important to build your channels. If you're going to go after the consumer directly, think of how you can do that so that you can control the pricing, so that you can control that after purchase experience. And then if you're going after professionals, what we're learning, we really need to start developing relationships in the distribution channel. So it's going to be different depending on your strategy, but that is a key factor of your success, is how are you going to distribute the product, so that part of the experience today, most people buy online, so that e-commerce factor is very important. So you need to make sure that you partner with people, or you provide an experience of what people expect today, which is fast shipment of exactly what they're trying to buy.
Full alignment with what the panelists said here. The only other thing I'd add on top of it is leverage partners, leverage ecosystems. Don't reinvent the wheel. There are plenty of companies that are out there that can get you onto the cloud, can get you into every ecosystem, can help you manufacture, can help you build your devices. Do that as much as you can, so that way you're not redoing any of the Me Too stuff. You're thinking about, how do I add unique value? How do I make it easy? How do I build out my channel network? How do I offer that unique thing? And there's tons of resources out there in the market to enable y'all to go do that. So that would be my biggest advice.
Yes to everything that has already been said. I would only add, as a software company, interoperability is king, because your clients and consumers and caregivers don't want to log into 17 different things in order to set up rules here and to be notified there. So really stopping with the proprietary thing and trying to work with open APIs, ability to work with other people. I mean, and that's really the winner in this space from a software standpoint is going to be somebody with a dashboard that everybody can access, everybody can easily, kind of what Qualcomm was doing with the TuneNet platform maybe like 10 years ago, but I would say not hardware-based, software-based, and allowing everyone to work together.
Great comments on interoperability, and we do have a session later today that will be addressing that. Let's talk, though, about customer engagement and stickiness and keeping that consumer buying within the same product ecosystem or buying more. Travis, what are some of the ways that you all are measuring engagement and feeling good about what's happening with your customers?
Yeah, the fundamental metric that we look at for our business now, we call ARPU, average revenue per user. So we know on average how much every TV that's plugged into a wall out there is returning in terms of revenue. And that's kind of our metric that we're constantly monitoring, but the things that you have to do to drive that metric all revolve around delivering services that people want to use over and over and over again. The majority of our revenue on our platform comes in the form of advertising revenue. So it's not necessarily subscription revenue where someone's paying $20 a month or whatever and they forget that they're paying it and you keep billing their credit card. Like, we actually have to have people watching the right kind of content on our platform day in and day out in order to move that metric. So we're obsessed with the consumer experience on our platform because it's what drives the business.
I love that. Obsessed with the consumer experience. That's perfect. Any other comments that anybody wants to make on being able to keep a customer sticky? Does that mean you're sending them notifications all the time to remind them to use your service? Or, Melissa, what does that look like at Lutron as far as customer engagement goes?
Yeah, so we are also obsessed with customer engagement. I love that you said that. The customer is the center of our universe. And so anytime we're, developing products, we're looking back at the feedback and we're constantly thinking about, okay, what is the life cycle of this product? Lutron's founder, Joel Spira, one of the things he was so passionate about was making sure that our products were not only functional, but also beautiful. And he designed them from the outside in. And his big thing was always about, we want to make sure that our products can be used by a 5-year-old, by a 50-year-old, by a 90-year-old. And so, sometimes our product development cycle took a little bit longer because he wanted to make sure like the tactile feel was correct and that if you have somebody in your home, they kind of understand exactly how the product is going to work and how it's going to work well. So for us, it's really about just making sure that we are listening to our customers, we're making sure we're pushing out updates appropriately, and we do stay in touch with our customers via newsletters, and whether it's suggesting different ways to integrate with our systems and just helping to really enhance that lifestyle experience. And again, it's all about solving problems. So any way that we can help people make life just a little bit easier through technology, it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay, great. Agnes, maybe you can comment a little bit on pricing strategies and how you think different price points can attract different types of customers, and any suggestions to the audience as they think about how they're pricing their services and products.
That's always a struggle, right? Setting the right price, and especially if you're working with partners or you're coming from market to market. So what we've seen working with, we also have an e-commerce store, so we've worked with different brands trying to come from Europe, for example. They're very strong in Europe. They're coming to the US, and they set this higher price point because, according to them, once you set a lower price, you can never lower it again. Anybody that has lived in the US knows that you can absolutely lower a price and you can go very, very low, right? Especially around the holidays, which is almost always. So that's why I said it's key to be open first of all, to have control over pricing as well so we can quickly pivot and to be open to try different strategies. What we're seeing a lot, and especially in the e-commerce sector, is that sometimes a customer will tolerate a higher price as long as they don't have to pay for shipping, right? They hate paying for shipping, but they don't necessarily realize that the shipping is not actually free. It's built into the price. So we've tried to be more transparent about that and charge more for shipping, and that did not work. So you have to kind of watch and learn how customers are reacting to pricing, but definitely keep in mind that going market to market, there's different cultures around pricing and different cultures around commerce. So if you're planning to scale, either coming from the US to Europe or to Asia, there's going to be different local factors that you have to keep in mind. And this is where partnering with the right people comes into play, right? So talk to people, ask questions, see what other people are doing, and that's what's going to drive success for you, I think.
Okay, great comments. Let's switch and talk a little bit about the cloud and the edge, right? All of these hardware products have a lot of data now that's being collected behind the scenes, incredible amounts of data. Probably people don't even know what to do with so much data everywhere. And this idea of data moving into the cloud or data staying on the edge of the hardware. Jake, I want to see if you can address this for us. You know, where's the world going, and why does the cloud matter, and what should companies be careful with when they're thinking about the cloud versus the edge?
So thank you. Big picture, all this cloud to edge stuff means is adding more decision-making capability and more functionality at the device level versus having to do that processing in a centralized set of cloud servers that are out there. And that's really, really exciting, not only for, we already talked a little bit about some of the personalized experiences and the new use cases that you can bring, but it does address some of the things that you brought up even in the question, right? A lot of folks are worried about, you know, hey, I'm talking about something in my kitchen and I get an ad on Facebook for that because my phone overheard it, right? People are worried about their own data, their own privacy. Doing more AI, all AI does is it gives you the ability to do more stuff without having to go to the cloud. That gives users not only new use cases and more personalized experiences, but it keeps the data in their own area. It prevents them from the whole house shutting down when your broadband goes out, right? And then for, you know, this is all about profit for the device makers. People fail to realize, and they do after they start deploying it, we've put AI into a lot of our edge node products for the last couple of years now, so we're starting to see a lot of these use cases go into production. They're also seeing lower costs on their end, right? Where, yeah, they can get that data to go see, you know, how things are being used, so that way they can figure out how to build better experiences and better products, but they don't have to spend as much money on cloud storage. They don't have to worry about latencies. They don't have to bear a lot of that cost and support that's required to go navigate those things. So there's real cost benefits for companies that actually implement it to their bottom line for that kind of not front-end use case, but kind of back-end support area. But there's real benefits in terms of privacy, in terms of resiliency from networks going out, in terms of personalized experiences, and we're just at the beginning of this. It's going to be really, really exciting to see how it all plays out.
Great comments. Does anybody else want to comment on cloud versus edge? Anybody? Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about the service platform and the idea that you end up having a platform with a spoke, whether it be devices or content. You have something that is an enabler of connections, of revenue, of new applications. And so, Travis, can you explain a little bit more about the VIZIO platform and in the future, you know, beyond just the content side? You mentioned all of the advertising dollars. What else is coming next?
Yeah, fundamentally right now, most of our revenue comes from helping our viewers find content through advertising, so Disney Plus is promoting content, whatever, or things that look like TV ads within content, a company trying to sell a product. But we will continue to focus on those areas. But we do see a huge opportunity with the TV being kind of the center of the connected home, the biggest screen in the house, and connecting the TV with all the other devices around the house. We haven't made a tremendous amount of progress there yet, but it's definitely a focus area for us. And I think people have this like connection with their living room TV, and we really do believe that it can become a hub for the smart home.
And we believe that too at Parks Associates. So we think you're on the right track there. And I mean, if you're watching Roku, right? Roku is a streaming media device, and they have a home security system at Walmart. So the television as the main screen can do a lot of different things, including on the health side and the ability to communicate with people through the television in an interactive way. Laura, let's shift over to you a little bit and see if you can share more about the platform view and why this is so important in the business that you're in of helping people manage their homes, especially if they have certain disabilities or inabilities to do various things.
Well, I think the idea is utilizing technology to not only meet them where they're at, but make it so that they don't have to do anything in order to engage with it. 20 years ago when we started GrandCare, it was all about, we had some competitors that were just doing the connected home, that were just doing monitoring and telehealth, things like that. And those are things we do as well, but we thought it was so important that we didn't just serve them a big plate of vegetables, that there was something in it for them. And so that, speaking to the stickiness, that they would have, keep coming to the TV, the touchscreen, whatever it is. And not only would it help them with their activities of daily living, but there would also be engaging content on there for them. Some of the individuals that we serve right now, for some reason or another, may not have access to smart devices. And so in using technology, you can provide a safer environment for them to engage with maybe YouTube video on trains, or maybe they love MASH or Little House on the Prairie, but they don't have access to a smart connected device to engage with those things. So I think there's using technology, and our system is a little different because we have to not only serve the end user, which is the individual that is being cared for, but also the caregiver that is providing that care. So the stickiness and everything comes in 2 points. One is make sure it's easy for the caregiver to monitor and set up and do all those things, but most importantly, that the user is engaged and they want to use the technology.
Okay, great comments. Thank you for that. I want to end, we just have a few minutes left. I do want to talk a little bit about interoperability. We know Matter has promised a lot and made a lot of progress, but differentiation is still critical for companies to stand out in the market. And so, Jake, I want to see if you can comment on what's different about today's standards, and then Melissa, will go to you next, and then Agnes as well.
So for those of you that don't know, Matter is a technology that is set to enable interoperability between IoT edge nodes and interoperability between different app ecosystems. So theoretically, you buy one device, you use that device, you can use any app you want, you can have that talk to other devices so long as they're Matter compatible. What's really exciting about this and what's different now is the momentum and the buy-in that this has from the industry and it being proven out. Like, it takes a long time to build out a wireless technology and a wireless ecosystem. It's not perfect from day one, but this standard has the backing of the biggest cloud companies. It has the biggest backing of a lot of the broadband operators in the US and Europe, and it's starting to come into Asia and all that. So that means it's going to come and it's going to evolve. And a lot of people get bent out of shape of, oh my God, well, I'm not going to have value by having my own proprietary protocol or having my own, specialized ecosystem. Well, it's the wrong way to look at it, in my opinion, right? This thing offers a massive amount of benefits of problems that you don't have to solve anymore in terms of device security, in terms of attestation, in terms of how do you get everything to work on. So that frees the market to do unique and creative things, to focus on all the things we've been talking about on this panel about how do people become successful in this space. So in my opinion, the folks that are going to be successful here are going to be the ones that take advantage of the benefits that these things provide and then build on top of it their own capabilities, their own experience to really add value to consumers and to help them build their system from, one or two devices they might buy at Walmart to go add a full set of lights or a full set of locks or cameras or switches.
Yep, okay. Great comments there. Melissa, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, sure. So, Lutron is very supportive of the Matter movement, and it makes a lot of sense in helping people advance their smart home journey. Today, we are actually on the board of the Connected Standards Alliance, who's helping to bring Matter to the masses. We do not have any Matter compliant products today because we actually do have a proprietary RF technology that we call Clear Connect, and we today have what is known as the most connected smart lighting control system on the market. So for now, we don't have to use Matter at the moment, but again, as I said earlier, we are customer obsessed, and if our customers are asking for it, then that's something we're going to address down the road. But there is definitely room for both Matter and proprietary in the market, I believe. So.
Okay, Agnes, you have a quick comment?
Yeah, I have so much to say about this. This is something that's close to my heart because I come from the trenches of that, right? And every single day we have to answer why this doesn't work with that. And we use Z-Wave, which is actually something that not in theory, thank you for being transparent, Jake, that theoretically this should happen with Matter. In reality, Z-Wave has had QR scanning and adding devices easily just based on the technology, right? So you can add a Z-Wave device to any Z-Wave hub and it will work. Not only that, it has standardized command classes, so that means that you can do much, much more today with Z-Wave than you can do with Matter. That's today, obviously, but that's the protocol that we use. And we find that it's much easier for us as a manufacturer to have that because we don't have to figure out so many different things around just creating a device that will say A, B, and C, motion detection, I don't know, temperature detection, anything like that. It's already built into the protocol. But still, we need to do a lot to make sure that the devices that we make display correctly on many different platforms. So if I release a motion sensor today, I release 20 or 30 products because that motion sensor will display differently on SmartThings, that motion sensor will display differently on Home Assistant, and that means I need to go and work with every single platform on that experience. So that's why there's a lot of work to do, whether you're choosing Matter, Z-Wave, or any protocol. The key for us is to focus on improving those experiences and not expect people to choose one platform and stick with it. There's not going to be a winner, although Home Assistant is pretty much killing it. There's going to be different platforms out there, and we need, as manufacturers and as companies in the industry, need to do the hard work of integration.
Okay, great comments there. And ultimately, all of this technology is creating more options for consumers, the smart home moving into the mass market. I was a little upset to see a headline that called the smart home gadgets again, because I thought we had passed that stage, but I just saw it last week. We don't think we're talking about gadgets anymore. We really believe we're talking about lifestyles. We're talking about people's family. We're talking about people's health, their safety, their security, their lighting, their entertainment preferences. All of these things are built on the foundation of the internet, connectivity, and the integration and convergence among many, many ecosystems in the home, markets that equal billions and billions and billions of dollars. So the smart home is not a gadget at all. And I would like to thank our speakers for their great comments today. If you would, please give them a round of applause. Thank you all for being here.